Hello, and thank you for joining us today. This year marks the 50th anniversary of the 1970 UNESCO Convention against Illicit Trafficking. Blue Shield Germany and BTU Cottbus are conducting interviews of notable members in the cultural heritage field as part of a social media campaign. The interviews will allow us to gain different international perspectives when discussing the fight against illicit trafficking and their approach to restitution of cultural property. My name is Tanya Contrucci, and I'm a graduate student at BTU Cottbus in the World Heritage Studies program. For this session, we would like to focus on the cooperation of international bodies in the fight against illicit trafficking. We are joined today by the coordinator of Works of Art Unit at Interpol, Corrado Catesi. Hello, Mr. Catesi, and thank you for taking the time to speak with us today.
Thank you to you, Mrs. Contrucci, to Blue Shield, to give Interpol the possibility to be here with you and to support this initiative, this great initiative.
To give a brief summary for our listeners, Interpol is an international organization created nearly 100 years ago in order to facilitate international police cooperation. Interpol has been heavily involved in the fight against illicit trafficking of cultural objects, forming the Unit of Stolen Works of Art, creating the Stolen Works of Art database, and working with other international organizations such as UNESCO. Today, we would like to discuss the role of Interpol has played the last 50 years since the adoption of the 1970 Convention and what the organization is currently doing in the fight against illicit trafficking. How has the 1970 Convention shaped the role of Interpol in relation to illicit trafficking?
Thank you very much for this really interesting question. First, I would like to share with you an important information that Interpol started in 1946 to fight illicit traffic of cultural property, issuing the first notice to locate 3 stamps stolen in Germany, where it was important to remember. Since then, we always, as a police organization, worked in this field, but for sure, the 1970 UNESCO Convention gave us a great opportunity because in Article 4, as you know for sure better than me, is all member countries are encouraged to establish an agency for the protection of cultural heritage. And for us, these agencies are the police, specialized police unit. Without them, it's absolutely impossible for us to fight the illicit traffic of cultural property. We always used this article to remember to all our member countries they should set up a specialized police unit. Luckily, this concept was recalled in 2018 by the United Nations General Assembly resolution adopted unanimously, where all member countries of UN family were encouraged to establish a police specialized unit only dedicated for the protection of cultural heritage with national stolen works of our database connected with the Interpol one. Well, for us, to make a little synthesis, the UNESCO Convention, the Article 5, gave us a great opportunity to follow our goal.
Thank you so much. The second question, how does Interpol track illicitly traded cultural objects throughout the world, and what difficulties do you face in your work?
Interpol, as international police organization, cannot carry out alone international investigation, of course. Our main duty is to support our member country in locate, seize, and recover stolen objects of art. How to do it? With our main activity, our core activity is to maintain and feed the Interpol stolen works of art database with information about the stolen objects of art. We have in our database that was created in 1995, we have 52,000 items stolen and reported as stolen to Interpol from 134 member countries. The objects are various, from the archaeological to the contemporary art. And the most important things that you have to know that this Interpol stolen works of art database is not only for police, not only for law enforcement or for authorized users, but is also for the general public. Indeed, in 2009, the General Assembly of Interpol decided to give the public access to all people that will ask through our website the access. And this is mandatory because we have several information coming from the public during the year where stolen objects of art recorded in our database are located by the general public that are consulting our database before buying or selling an item. And the time they can see that the object is recorded and reported to Interpol as stolen. Of course, at the time, all investigation will start, but it is really important that the Interpol stolen works of art can be used. And this is one of our main activity, to maintain it, to feed it.
Thank you. So that's super interesting that the public is involved to that level, and it seems to be successful and that they can use the database themselves. Another question is, are there any areas or circumstances that you deal with that the convention does not address?
Yes, even if always in the Article 5, the 1970 Convention is called to all countries to contributing in writing, drafting laws to fight the illicit traffic of cultural property, especially with illicit import or exportation. However, the UNESCO 1970 Convention doesn't cover the area of the international police investigation that is inside mandate, it is out of mandate of UNESCO. Well, this part where we work every day is not absolutely is not covered by the convention.
And how does that affect in terms of restitution of illicit trafficking cultural properties? Is that affected greatly, or?
Yes, the most important thing is the illicit traffic of cultural property, and when an object stolen is located in one online action, in an auction houses, in a gallery, in a museum, in a private collection, whenever it's possible to locate an object of art, we have two possibilities. Object is reported as a stolen to the police. The UNESCO Convention will never act. Will act always the police investigation. At the same time, vice versa, if there is not a report to Interpol, to police, the UNESCO Convention is a great tool to act for the restitution of the item. Of course, are two different mandates, are two different activities, cannot be compared. Together, we can fight this, the illicit traffic of cultural property.
Thank you for the clarification. And lastly, can you please give us a concluding statement of why the convention is important to you and your organization and the reason for your support?
I support the 1920 Convention for the importance recognized in the Article 2 to the international cooperation that constitute one of the most efficient means of protection each country's cultural property. And this is the foundation for the cooperation among international organizations. Indeed, we never had to forget that only working together, only working all international organizations, all countries together, is possible to fight the illicit traffic of cultural property. It cannot be won alone by some country or by only one international organization. Well, the Article 2 is the fundamental foundation for this concept that for me is really, really important. Interpol, if we are the International Organization for Police, we cannot win this fight without the UNESCO collaboration, the ICROM collaboration, the ICOM collaboration, the UNIDROIT collaboration, the OCC support is absolutely impossible. This is a fight that has to be addressed all together. And for me, I repeat, they are most important. For this reason, I support, as coordinator of Works of Art Unit in Interpol headquarters, the 1970 Convention. And I encourage all nations to ratify it.
Thank you so much for taking time with us to speak with us, Mr. Catesi.
Thank to you to invite me.
Please make sure to visit the links provided below this video to watch more interviews with international organizations and actors in the heritage field to learn about their diverse perspectives on illicit trafficking.